Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Craig Carton Show. I'm Tyrone Johnson, in for Craig, who it feels like on the air yesterday, we almost saw that man perish. He said it was bad milk. I don't think he was telling the truth, and that's why he's not in today. But we're going to have a great show here on a Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. There's a lot to get to, and I just want to make it clear. This show today will have no hot takes, okay? Everything I say today, I believe down to my bone marrow. Let's just get ahead of it. And with the NFL schedule last night, now it was strange. They said it was 8 o'clock, but a bunch of the teams did these elaborate videos way before 8 o'clock. I got to find out. They'll release the numbers and they'll fudge them. How many people actually watched that show yesterday if your team's individual schedule was already out? We'll get to a bunch of it as we go ahead. But again, I'm not doing any hot takes. I'm not going to go do W's and L's, and I'm not going to make a prediction in May about who's going to win the Super Bowl next February out there in Los Angeles. I'm not going to do it, okay? But what I am going to do today is tell you the teams that absolutely can't win the Super Bowl. See, we know going into every year, especially in May, we're not even at training camp yet. Some of the teams haven't even done mini camp yet, that everybody feels like they have a chance. Whether you're a lowly Jets fan, the lowest of the low, or if you're a top-flight Eagles fan like myself, the highest of the high, everyone feels like today they have a chance to win the Super Bowl, but I'm here to tell you that that is not true. Not everybody has a chance to win the Super Bowl. In fact, far less teams have a chance to actually win than you may be believing. And I'm going to go over this scientifically today. And by the end of this segment, you will know whether or not you should bother watching the NFL this season or not. Because if I eliminate your team, you can watch it for enjoyment. You can watch it because you want to watch it with your kids or go to games or whatever it might be. You might love to tailgate. But if your team is on the elimination list today, they will not be winning the Super Bowl. Let's start over in the AFC. Let's go to the AFC first, okay? Let's go to the AFC East. I'm going to tell you right now the teams that will not win the Super Bowl. Let's start with the Patriots. Let's start with the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins. All right, now the Patriots, come on. I don't think Vrabel is going to be the coach of the Patriots by the time the season starts, let alone to make it to the Super Bowl. Also, if you don't believe any of that Vrabel stuff, which you should, when was the last time you saw a Super Bowl losing team that didn't have Tom Brady on it make it back to the Super Bowl and win it the next year? In my lifetime, I've seen it really one time, and that was Tom Brady after he lost to the Eagles. He got back the next year. Well, I can tell you, Drake May is no Tom Brady, and with the Vrabel thing over, it's not going to happen. And then, unfortunately for the Dolphins and the Jets, it's just generic stink. Okay, you guys have stunk for a long time. It's just generic stink. You guys, you three teams in the NFC East, no chance to win the Super Bowl. Let's go over to the AFC North. The Steelers. Yeah, no chance. No chance. Aaron Rodgers is going to retire. You downgraded at coach. And while you've had that 500 streak every year, you guys have not been relevant since Ben Roethlisberger retired. They're not a relevant team before. They're not a relevant team when it comes to actually winning now. Also, you have the Browns, generic stink, and Mr. Massage Man as your quarterback, apparently. How can you trust that guy to make it through a season? And then you're going to send him to Los Angeles, a sea of massage parlors? There's no way that man could make it to the Super Bowl. They're out. And, of course, those two teams, no way, no how, eliminated. Let's go over to the AFC South now, the teams that will not win the Super Bowl. The coach, your quarterback is Daniel Jones, and he's coming off of Achilles. Now, he had a lucky 9 games, but I know I work with some Giants fans. Ask them about Daniel Jones and tell me. And don't tell me, oh, we changed his name to Indiana Jones, so he's good now. Yeah, you didn't make the playoffs last year. In fact, you lost like 7 games in a row. He doesn't have it. You don't have the right guy. You guys will not win the Super Bowl. And Tennessee Titans. I feel for Cam Ward. Within the first month of his season last year, he lost both his head coach and his offensive line coach at the same time last season, so they couldn't block for him. His head coach didn't know the rules. There's not enough help. Therefore, they can't. And finally, Let's go to the AFC West, a division a lot of people have liked it. They've won a lot of Super Bowls between some of those teams over historically. The Raiders have a bunch of Super Bowls. The Chargers have none, but Denver and the Chiefs, they have Super Bowls. Yeah, none of them, I want to say it out loud, none of the AFC West has a chance to win the Super Bowl. Mahomes is on one leg right now. You have an aging Kelsey. We don't care about Swifties anymore, do we? No chance. Now, you know the Chargers are feeling good about themselves. They picked up all these tight ends. They're going to run the ball. Yeah, but your quarterback is a choke artist, and you know that Madison Beers is going to leave him. How much losing can she tolerate? And you know, even if you somehow had a great regular season, you know that Herbert's going to throw the ball more to the other team than his own. No shot. Denver, you might be saying, they were good. Look, right there at the end of the game, you got a quarterback on one leg, and the coach apparently hates him. He went out of his way to bury him. No chance. And then you have the Raiders. Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all times out there. We love Tom Brady. Well, guess what? He looks like he's a buffoon as a general manager. He's the part owner. He's pulling the strings. And even if you like the Fernando Mendoza pick, you know the Raiders are out. So right there, you can see it on your screen right there visually. Those teams, no shot at winning the Super Bowl. Let's go over to the AFC real fast, please. People, yeah, let's go over to the NFC. All right, NFC East, let's start there. Cowboys, they're the only ones eliminated. The Cowboys can't win because of Dak Prescott. You see him out there. He's out there in them streets again chasing hoes. He's got all this money. He's not hungry anymore. Dak Prescott is not a guy who's hungry for a Super Bowl. Why? Because at the end of the day, he already got the money without earning it, and he broke up with the fiance so he could head back out to the streets. Well, he'll be out in the streets in L.A., but not playing in the Super Bowl. Let's go over to the NFC North, I believe is next, if I have that correctly, and the Vikings are gone. Why? Their quarterback is not tall enough to ride rides at Disney World. If you're not tall enough to ride rides at Disney World, by rule, you are eliminated from the Super Bowl. Therefore, the Vikings are the only team there eliminated from the Super Bowl. Let's go to the NFC South. Let's go to the NFC South. All right. Bryce Young, same rule, very, very small. Falcons have Tua. Again, very, very small. Can't do it, won't do it. Your Lilliputian quarterbacks cannot win a Super Bowl. I can tell you right now, if you're a fan of any of those teams, you're going. And the Saints, unfortunately, I like Kellen Moore, former Eagles offensive coordinator. The guy looks like he has things going in the right direction. But as he makes his gumbo, as he makes his jambalaya right there, I hope he talks to some of the people that are local, because he looks like it's the type guy, Kellen Moore. If you look at it, if you Google him, he looks like a guy that doesn't season his food. So you got to just make sure he asks for a little help, because he has no idea about the seasoning. But it's undercooked regardless. You guys cannot and will not win the Super Bowl. And let's go over to the NFC West. The NFC West, I hate to do it to you, because this is supposed to be the team, the division that's the most fearsome in football. Let's get the Cardinals out of the way. They have no chance because they're generically bad, and the Cardinals, there are no Cardinals fans, so I'm not even disappointing anybody by saying it. But here's why the rest of that division has absolutely no chance at all. The Seahawks are not good enough to repeat. Yes, they won. Yes, I respect what they did, but am I to believe that Sam Darnold is good enough to win back-to-back Super Bowls? I'm going to say out loud right now, no, Seahawks out. And that leaves just the 49ers and the Rams. And unfortunately, the frequent flyer miles are just going to be too much for them. Too much travel right there. They're already starting the games, both of them in Australia. Week 2, they send them back to the West Coast just to send them all the way out to the East Coast week 2. Too much travel to send San Francisco down to Mexico City, and that's it, okay? They have no chance. So right now, if you're not one of the people that were named this segment, good luck, and I wish you the best of luck, and I hope if you're in the AFC, you'll see my Eagles in the Super Bowl. But everybody else that was on this list today, your team, unfortunately, due to mixed circumstances, have absolutely no chance of winning the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, but I have spoken, and therefore it is the law.
Go go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There is a pick tonight that Gabe has that, to some degree, I find completely outrageous. Then I looked at it a second longer, and it might be a really smart angle.
I like to test them a little bit.
I like that.
To test them a little bit.
I like that a lot.
Oh, yeah, okay. You don't know? You don't know this team name? You should. You're in the sports business.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Number one, who asked for this? Nobody, but nobody asked for a bump up in the number of teams in both the men and the women's basketball tournament from 68, including the 4 play-in teams, to 76. And by the way, it looks like it is a near-done deal. ESPN and ABC News report this morning that's very close to being done. It could be announced by the end of this week.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I'm Tyrone Johnson in for Craig. He was a little under the weather and filling in today. I usually sit over there. Feels all right to sit over here today. And speaking of Craig, as you guys well know, if you're a regular listener, but if you're new as well or new viewer, Craig is a lifelong New Yorker, is of course a Knicks fan. And I am not. I am a Sixers fan that is very bitter. Now, I noticed one of the rules on social media is to not read the comments, and by and large, I don't. I like to just jump in a couple and go like, your mom, and throw those things a little bit here and there because it's fun for me, but for the most part, I don't read the comments. But one of the comments I've seen is, oh, Tyrone, you're just bitter. You're damn right I'm bitter. You're damn right I'm bitter, and I'm going to stay bitter, okay? I'm not ashamed of being bitter. I just want to make this clear before we get into the topic that we're about to get to. I'm bitter. I am not going to sit here and pretend like, yay, now that the Knicks beat my team, I want the Knicks to go all the way. I don't want the Knicks to go all the way. I don't want the Knicks to win another game, not only these playoffs, I never want the Knicks to win another game for the rest of my life, okay? I now hate the Knicks every bit as much as I hate the Cowboys, the Mets, and everybody else, okay? I don't like what happened. I don't like what you guys, how you comported yourself down in my arena in Philadelphia. I'm not watching anything that Tracy Morgan's in anymore. I'm not watching anything that Ben Stiller's in anymore. I'm not watching anything that Timothy Chalamet's in anymore. I'm not listening to Fat Joe's music anymore. I now hate all of y'all, and I am not ashamed of it, okay? I am saying it out loud. So, of course, when I talk about the Knicks, I'm bitter. I am telling you, and I am announcing that I'm bitter, and I'm not ashamed of it, okay? I'm proud to be bitter. I am now become a hater. Okay? And I have to be honest, I now understand haters a lot more because it feels good. Okay? After my team lost, I was crushed. You guys are dancing around. You had a little kid sweeping up outside my arena because it was a sweep. Yeah, I don't like that, and I am now a hater, a proud hater, and I don't feel bad about it. But there is a bit of news we should talk about just in case the Knicks do make the NBA Finals. As you know, the World Cup is also coming to America this summer, and June is right around the corner. That is the summer, after all. Well, if there's a Game 6, and if Minnesota comes back and wins, and you can't rule it out, there is a chance that, and this one kind of makes me a little bit happy, that have the picture ready, guys, that this might be what it looks like outside the arena for Game 6. Now, nothing would make me happier if the Knicks did make the finals, which you won't if this was to happen. But if you see right here, Penn Station is supposed to be closed the day of what would be Game 6 of the finals, possibly, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now, if Penn Station's closed, and that's because they want to take people, they don't have to wait to get to the World Cup game. I think it would be a Senegal game. Now, I'm just going to say it again. The Knicks aren't making the finals, okay? And if they do, they're not making it to a Game 6 against anybody. We've talked about this. I don't like y'all, and you're not that good. But could you imagine what would happen if this scenario went through and the Knicks made the finals? It's now Game 6, which means it's now been a gratifying series for all the horrible New Yorkers out there in the world. It's 3-2, either Knicks up or 3-2 down, okay? Horrible Knicks fans. And now you guys, all the fans basically from the state of New Jersey, couldn't get into the city because Penn Station's closed for Senegal. First of all, Senegal is in Africa. So I don't even want to get into some of the new racial slurs we'd hear, okay? I'd have to cover my ears. Oh, my God, the things that might be said. But how do you fix this, and how do you even allow this to happen? Now, I recognize, for example, the price that I think it went from $150 down to $98 because they got sponsored. That was signed by a governor 8 years ago, that particular deal. So I recognize that they were thinking 8 years ago, the Knicks will never make the finals again. But now, unfortunately for me and most of society outside of New York, the Knicks are viable again. How did they let it get this far to where this could literally happen, to where the thousands of fans that want to come into the city? And think about it. What if that Game 6 is Knicks up 3-2 and it's an elimination game? And everybody wants to be outside the Garden to wait for them to win a championship and get ready for the parade. I'm telling you, it will be pandemonium. And Penn Station's closed. So this is what I want to do. I'm a big believer in helping people. I know people don't know this about me. You don't know me that well. You know Craig better than me. But I'm a person who likes to help people, okay? It's very important that you give back, okay? This is what I want to say to the governor, to the mayor, to the owner of the Knicks, because I want to help everybody out there, okay? I want to help the people. This is who I am. This is what I believe in. I want to do it. Don't open it. Leave it closed. Let the crazy stuff happen, okay? Leave it open. And not because it'll help New Yorkers, because it'll help everybody else, okay? Think about how happy you'll be if you don't like the Knicks. If Knicks fans can't get into the city to watch the game, it'll be hilarious. Everybody will love it. Don't you agree, Ethan, downstairs is a Knicks fan? Wouldn't it be great that lives in New Jersey if you couldn't get into the city for the party? That would be awesome. I say people got to take ferries, okay? Take a boat if you want to get over there. Leave Penn Station closed and respect the World Cup. I have to be honest with you, okay, as a sportsman, okay? I'm a sportsman to my heart, okay, to my bone marrow. World Cup soccer greater than Knicks basketball. You have to look at the greater good. World Cup soccer greater than Knicks basketball. Now, if you had a civilized team, okay, playing in the finals, like the Pistons or the Cavaliers or one of these other teams that are with civilized fans that know how to act, then by all means, I would want to help them. The greater good means you support and you keep your word. You said that soccer fans will not have to wait for trains. Keep your word, okay? You leave it closed and you serve those soccer fans that deserve the love that they deserve because it's a bigger sport. There's no sport bigger than soccer. And yes, some people watch it and they say it's boring because the most goals you're going to see is 3, and then they don't know how to break ties, so they do a stupid penalty shot format at the end. Sure, all that's true. But we know one thing for sure, World Cup basketball is better than Knicks basketball, so leave it closed. And I can't wait for that scenario to happen. God bless America. The Knicks will not be able to celebrate their championship in a Game 6, and I'm rooting for that. Deep down, most of America is as well. What great news to come out from the World Cup, everybody. What great news.
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So they're like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson in for Craig today. He's a little down under the weather a little bit, down bad yesterday. If you watched the show or listened to the show yesterday, you'll know why. I like a long-term joke. They're funny to me. I like a long-term joke. And while there's a lot of people out there, Craig Carton being one of them, that does not like Warriors coach Steve Kerr, who is returning, four-time champion Steve Kerr, who's returning, a five-time champion, as a player before winning all those championships with the Warriors. He's returning. I found out that he did something that is epic. It's just tremendous. He decided that over a long season, as you can see right there on your screen for those that are watching us and not listening to us on the podcast, that he decided to work in lyrics from Taylor Swift's song, All Too Well, into the press conferences over the course of a year. So he's really having a joke with just him and the few people that he told he was going to work those lyrics into his press conference over the course of a year. And I have to say, well done, sir, 90%. The only 10% is, why did you take that whiny-ass song and when there's all these other songs available? But other than picking a Taylor Swift song, I love that particular joke. If you don't know the song All Too Well, it is the whiniest. The song is designed for women with no melanin to just start sobbing. And that's the song with no melanin at all. People that need to wear, listen, it's sunscreen season. And don't forget to put it on and reapply every 90 minutes. Everybody that is hearing me that knows All Too Well, if you know it, put some sunscreen on and reapply every 90 minutes. Skin cancer is real, okay? I love this. There is nothing about this other than the fact that he picked All Too Well that I don't love about it, and here's why. I know that we talk about the stakes and the money with pro sports, but at the end of the day, for them, it's a job, just like your job and just like my job. And everybody in the world does a better job if they're having a little fun while they're at work. That's just the truth of the matter. You have more fun when you're at work, okay? This is a way. He has to do 82 press conferences just from the games. You have to do all the preseason stuff and all the talk and all the Draymond stuff and cleaning all that up. And when Curry's out and this, that, and the other thing, Kuminga, all the stuff he had to deal with. And then you add in, you have to do 82 of those press conferences. How many different things can you say? Yeah, we didn't have it tonight. So to find a way to make it more fun, I think that is great. And this is why, in my opinion, Steve Kerr, he already is a Hall of Famer. This, to me, moves him up to almost immortal status that he was basically trolling the media for an entire season. I love it. There's no downside to this other than All Too Well being the song. This is a man who played at Arizona University with Kenny Lofton and Sean Elliott and all these guys. He doesn't know a single song better than All Too Well, but I'm sorry to get stuck on that. But to me, Kerr, thumbs up. Also happening in California, a little south, a good bit south from San Francisco, it was announced that Lisa Leslie, a former LA Sparks and women's basketball pioneer, will be having a statue outside the Staples Center or whatever it's called now. What's it called now? Crypto.com Arena, because we love that. That rolls right off the tongue. And there's been some controversy about it. Now, let's present the resumes real fast, and then I'll weigh in on the controversy. So outside, you have the Kobe statue, of course. Kobe Bryant, a 5-time champion with the Lakers, a 3 with Shaq, and 2 without him. And then Shaq has one where he's dunking a basketball. 3-time champion Shaquille O'Neal outside of the Staples Center. I believe Magic Johnson has one. Jerry West. Magic, a 5-time champion, multiple-time MVP winner. And now Lisa Leslie, and there are people out there who have an opinion. Now, for those who don't know about Lisa Leslie's sterling resume, she has 3 MVPs, more than Shaq and Kobe combined, and 2 championships, so obviously less than those guys. I'm going to say it out loud right now that I believe that Lisa Leslie, of course, deserves a statue. But should it be with Shaq, Kobe, Magic, Jerry West? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because women's basketball and men's basketball is not the same. While it is basketball, we know it's not the same. And they shouldn't just wedge her next to people to where she won't get the shine that she deserves. I think they have to use Los Angeles in a different way for the women's players going forward, all the LA players. The statue should be out in Santa Monica, okay? If I can show you right now a little artist rendering, this is to me where the Lisa Leslie statue should be. She deserves it. Now, does it need to be by a Papa Shot? Maybe, because this sets the tone for a young girl to say, wow, who's Lisa Leslie? I want to be just like her one day. Lisa Leslie deserves a statue, but it should be somewhere else. Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson here in for Craig Carton. He was a little under the weather, but he said it was bad milk. I don't think it was. I think I'm just glad. I hope he gets an IV to rehydrate. But LeBron James' season ended, and right away people have to jump out the window with the hot takes. And I'm not saying I'm above it in any way or Craig's above it. It's just that the GOAT talk to me, when it comes to, in my opinion, again, when it comes to this basketball thing, is kind of boring at times, and you're not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change your mind. Plus, I'm right. So there's really not a debate. But there's a GOAT conversation that's lurking out there that I don't think enough people talk about. And there's somewhere there is a debate when we're talking about the GOAT, because you have the LeBron Jordan, for example. But let's look at some GOATs, and then we'll get to a conversation that I think we may not be ready to have it yet, but we need to get ready to have this conversation, and I'm ready to have it right now. So we start off with certain GOATs. When we talk boxing, it's well known. You ask the majority of the earth, they're going to say Muhammad Ali is the GOAT, okay? And remember, when you're the GOAT, it's not just about being undefeated. It's about era. It's about impact. There's a lot of things that go with being the GOAT, but Ali stands alone. And we know there are people, when he lit the Olympic torch in 96, for example, decades after his career, talking about 15 years maybe after his last fight, dealing with Parkinson's disease, that had a tear running down their face because of the greatness of Muhammad Ali. There are people out there who were mad at him about Vietnam who forgave him. Muhammad Ali is just known as the GOAT. We know with basketball, while there's a lot of hot take people out there who talk rubbish, there's only two choices. It's Jordan and LeBron, okay? My choice is clearly LeBron. I don't think it's particularly close in my opinion, but I know I have to acknowledge that there's a lot of people out there like Craig, like producer Ethan, that says that it's Jordan. Fine. No issues with that one at all, even though I strongly disagree, because we know we matched up stat for stat and win for win through the age of 41, and we saw Jordan was somewhere chilling. Tiger Woods, yes, he's dealing with some issues right now, but when you talk golf, people don't say Jack anymore. They say Tiger Woods, okay? Tiger Woods, y'all, it's all good, y'all. I heard a woman 87 years old said that, okay? Tiger Woods, y'all, it's all good, y'all. That's how Tiger has transcended. There's no doubt. Hockey. Wayne Gretzky, despite his goal record being broken, look at his points record. Look at his assist record. The man won MVP as a rookie. He was 38 years old, okay? 38 years old. And he still had like 60 assists. It was ridiculous what he did. And if you listen to some men out there, not me, because I'm not a chauvinist, he made a hot daughter, okay? Not me. He made a hot daughter. That tells you Gretzky, no doubt about it, is the GOAT. Football, there's another no-doubter, Tom Brady. Now, we know he might have crap for brains as an executive, and he might not be that good on TV during the games. I know we said he improved, but improved from what? We know he's not our favorite. We know Troy Aikman may not have been the quarterback, but we'd rather Troy Aikman commentate a game over Tom Brady 100 times out of 100. But when it comes to playing, Tom Brady, no doubt, is the GOAT. And the fact that he left New England and won with the Bucs, while look at the mess that Bill Belichick's in, we know that man is the GOAT. Serena Williams, no doubt about it. We talk about women's tennis. Hell, we talk about tennis. She became larger than the game. And there's rumors that she might come back. And let's be honest, if she comes back, even though I don't recommend it, we're all going to watch because she's the GOAT, which brings us to baseball. Now, if you're me, it's always been my entire life, Willie Mays has been the GOAT. For other people, it's Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth is another person who's bigger than the game, okay? Now, for me, I can't put Babe Ruth above fifth because of who he played against, but to a lot of people, he is the GOAT. And here brings us to the conversation that we may or may not be ready to have. Because you look at those people up there, Ali, Jordan, LeBron, Tiger, Gretzky, Tom Brady, Serena, Willie Mays, and Babe Ruth. Those are names that everyone knows that puts them in just a special elite class. No matter what we do in our lives, whatever we do in our lives, we would love to be the Tiger Woods of whatever the job is, the Wayne Gretzky of whatever your job is. When I call somebody out to do plumbing, I want the Tom Brady of plumbing to come to my house. where there's an active player who might be playing his way into the GOAT conversation with these people, and that person is Shohei Ohtani. That person is Shohei Ohtani. And are we ready to have that conversation? Well, ready or not, we're about to have it. We already know that he has 4 MVPs and 2 championships already. We already know the double that he's pulling with both hitting and pitching, something we haven't seen since Babe Ruth. Again, I don't know who Babe Ruth was pitching to. Might have been taxi drivers, but the point is he did it, and now Ohtani's doing it. And so far this season, on the Dodgers, say whatever you want, oh, he's only batting .240 so far. We know he'll get his numbers. He has a sub-1 ERA. So far, Shohei Ohtani has a .82 ERA. He's doing things we haven't seen, and there's nobody listening or watching this show that saw Babe Ruth play. We're seeing something regularly, every 5th day, that we've never seen before. Baseball had to change rules to allow that guy to exit the game as a pitcher and stay in the game as a hitter. They had to change rules for this guy. He's special. The question really only remains, how long does he have to do it to join that illustrious group that you see right there on the screen? And for me, he's maybe a year away. He's maybe a year or 2 years away from saying that Shohei Ohtani is the greatest baseball player we've ever seen. And I'm going to say it again because this does not seem to be getting talked about. How much longer does a guy have to hit 50 home runs and pitch every 5th day before we recognize that as much as I love Willie Mays, okay, the starting center fielder on the All-Heaven team, that Ohtani can be the #1 player ever. Now, I recognize the Japanese thing and all that stuff. It might make it uncomfortable. And for some people, it will always be Babe Ruth. But you know you're wrong because you don't think Babe Ruth would be striking people out today. You don't think that. Even if you know what Babe Ruth's habits were. Even if he had today's nutrition and today's this and that, you know he still would have today's vodka. You know he still have today's beer. You know he still have today's fried chicken. Babe Ruth would not be as great an athlete today if he was back then. That's just a fact, and we know it. Okay? Shohei Ohtani, if he continues to do this for this year, to complete this year, and does it by next year, we're going to have to say out loud that he's the greatest baseball player in the history of the sport. And while the American impact may not be felt by everybody right away, we now have to say we have 9 international NFL games. Now, I don't like that, but they're trying to go international with their game for whatever reason. They think it's great. Basketball has long become a global game in the NBA. You see Dirk, you see Luka, you see all these guys. I mean, SGA is going to win MVP again. When was the last time we had an American MVP? Because he's Canadian. You had Embiid, you got Jokic. When was the last time we had Giannis from Greece? When was the last time we had an American MVP? It's a global game. Now tell me Ohtani is not helping this game become even more global, being from Japan. I know it might be uncomfortable, but I'll say it right now. Shohei Ohtani is 18 months away from being the greatest baseball player in baseball history. He's that close. He's that special, and we need to appreciate it. Being a person that lives on the East Coast, I wish he wasn't always with the Dodgers with the late-night games so I can watch more of it, but this guy is a modern marvel, and I don't think there's going to be another one of him around the corner. It's going to be a generation before we have another player that even tries to do what Ohtani does. Pitch every 5th day and hit 50 and 60 home runs? This is not normal, and we shouldn't pretend like it's normal just because he's from Japan. Let me tell you, if he was from the Dominican Republic, if he was from Atlanta, this guy would be more popular than every other athlete in this country. But he's definitely the most famous baseball player in the world, and he's becoming quickly the best baseball player we've ever seen, period. Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT.
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So they're like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson here. And, I was thinking about my family and how lucky I am to have the family that I have. My mom, my late mother, my dad, my brother and sister, great aunts, cousins, the whole shebang. Because everything that I do, my family is neutral or they help me. So it makes me very, very thankful that my family is not a drain on me, don't cause any problems for me or anything. Now, it probably helps that I'm not rich. If I was rich, I would imagine perhaps some of them would maybe cause problems. But to this point, my family has only been a positive in my life. And then you have Shedeur Sanders. So Deion Sanders has come out and said, now we already know the trouble that Shiloh has recently gotten in, and he's telling a woman to get back to the laundry room and the kitchen and all this stuff. And, by the way, was there a time where you really could say that, not get in trouble? Like, I'm not old enough to remember when that would have been allowed. But anyway, so Shiloh, like, where did you take that from, like 60s TV? But anyway, we've seen all the trouble that Shiloh and other people around him. Last year, there was a lot of people that thought that he got bad advice, and that's why he fell in the draft. And Deion was coming forward saying he's been to hell and back and all this stuff. He's a rich kid. I mean, hell and back, hell is not, oh, no, I fell in the draft. Hell is like not having food. But whatever, Deion. Now, Deion wants to talk to Shedeur Sanders' head coach to talk to him about coaching, not football. Coaching, not about his son. Now, tell me in what world, Deion Sanders, is you meddling in Shedeur's situation helpful for Shedeur? Now, I love Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, he's the only Cowboy other than maybe Aikman that I've ever liked, okay? And he wasn't a Cowboy a long time, but once you put on the star, I always kind of despise you, like by rule. Like if Emmitt Smith walked into this room right now, I'd throw my water bottle at him, okay? I don't like Emmitt Smith. I don't like, Jay Novacek, you name it. I don't like any Cowboys, none of them. But I do always like Deion. What are you doing meddling in your son's affairs? Do you realize that he's already on the depth chart, apparently, behind Mr. Massage Watson, okay? If you have a guy who can't go out in polite society and know how to act, and he's above your son in the depth chart, that means your son has work to do. And one of the things he needs to do is not be a problem off the field, because you see, that's the one advantage Shedeur has is he's never been in trouble. Don't be a nuisance. Don't be a pain in the butt as a backup. because they don't keep backups around that are pains in the butt. So why does Deion have to meddle? And I've seen what meddling parents can do firsthand, okay? Let me take you back to the year 2019, right before the pandemic. The Eagles drafted a player called J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Now, you guys don't need to know who he is. He had a very forgettable career that totaled. He was a second-round pick, and he had a total of 16 catches in his career and a whopping 1 touchdown. But we all knew that was coming. Why? Because of a meddling mother this time. Now, if you don't mind, fellas, could you please show the photo right there? Now, here's the backdrop of that photo. The Eagles were having training camp at the NovaCare complex in South Philadelphia. And it was a particularly hot day for all the 90 guys that are at training camp before they trim the roster down to 53. Well, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside's mom, who was a notable basketball player and played in the Olympics, so did a bunch of his uncles. The thought was he had elite athletic pedigree. Well, his mom decided it was too hot for everybody, but she wasn't going to set up spend some money on a watering thing so they get that little spray mist or something like that. She decided to open an umbrella right there to give shade to her son. And at that moment, that young man's career ended. Maybe he could play football, but you could tell he was too coddled to do anything. Look at that, how pathetic that is. That's not acceptable in Little League, okay? If all the kids are in the sun, then let them all be in the sun. You don't go bringing an umbrella for a grown-ass man. That was the end of his career. And it appears, I don't know, but if Deion Sanders continues the way that he is, we're going to look at it, and one of the main reasons Shedeur Sanders will not succeed at the highest level will not be because of Shedeur Sanders. It will be because Deion Sanders is now doing the figurative umbrella over the kid in the sun. Why do you have the meddling parents? And it's a problem all the way from the NFL, as we can see, all the way down to Little League. Who amongst us haven't seen these videos where you have parents abusing Little League umpires that might be making $50 a game? And with that $50, he decided to rig the game. How many times have you heard that? How many times do you see people at high school games working the refs and cursing at the refs and bothering them because little Jimmy got fouled and he didn't call it? It is an epidemic that I believe is generational, because I feel like my parents' generation didn't act this way. This is a new thing where I bet you there's a bunch of people watching this right now who think, what's the big deal? I mean, he was hot. Why couldn't his mom put an umbrella over him? Because it makes him soft. It makes him a joke, and most importantly, it makes him a nuisance. And Deion Sanders right now, as great of a player as he was, and maybe he's a great father. I'd like to think he is. I hope he is. This is a massive, massive, massive mistake. Do better, Deion. Let Shedeur be an adult. Now, real fast, speaking of an adult, this is a wild story that's just come out. Now, this is multiple sources now. Fox Sports, Fox News, it's all over the place, ESPN. Edwin Diaz has reportedly appeared in a cockfighting tournament graphics wearing his Dodgers uniform. Now, let me get this straight. There's a cockfight happening down in Puerto Rico, apparently. And he allowed them to use his image in a graphic promoting the cockfight while in a Major League Baseball uniform? Come on, Edwin. Come on, Edwin. You got to do better. Apparently, the two brother jockeys, that great story from the Kentucky Derby where they had first and second place, the Ortiz brothers, apparently they're in the graphic and they're involved in the cockfights. Now, listen, I recognize it's cultural, but when you know better, you do better. When you know better, you do better. So this is what the punishment should be. For what people don't know in the cockfight, they tie little razor blades to the beak and they have them go fight. Those guys should have to take their pants off and get in the ring and see what happens with the chickens. That should be their punishment. What are we doing with people with money are still doing paid cockfights, okay? What is next? Michael Vick's coming back? Like, what are we doing? Like, we have to do better. Edwin Diaz must be suspended, and so do both of those jockeys for both the Preakness and the Belmont. We can't allow this to happen. to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson here in for Craig Carton. And let me tell you, I want to really thank the crew from SportsGrid and Ethan and Ryan for helping me throughout all these shows. And they help the show each and every day here live, and I appreciate them a great deal. But I don't like knowing about their personal lives anymore, okay? Every time I find out something about them, I don't like it, okay? I'm not going to repeat it, not for the air, but I'm going to say we can all, including me, do a little bit better day to day. Okay, that's what I'd like to say. Let's get to a little weekend preview because basketball, believe it or not, is getting ready to get started again in a big way because we have the conference championship games perhaps starting Sunday and Monday, depending on what happens tonight. So let's get, guys, if you don't mind, bring it up. You have in the first game, elimination game, Detroit is playing at the Cavaliers. Cavaliers have been undefeated at home so far in the postseason. They are 4.5-point favorites in that game tonight. If the Cavaliers win tonight, then they will be at the Knicks on Sunday, 3:30 for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, okay? Also, you have Game 6 tonight, elimination game with the Spurs and the Timberwolves. The Spurs are now 5.5-point favorites. That's going up a point since this show began. Well, a lot of the bettors think that the Spurs are going to win the game. Spurs now road favorites over the Timberwolves. If they win tonight, the Western Conference Finals series in OKC will begin on Monday. Now, if both the teams that could be eliminated win, then you'll have a Game 7. You have a couple Game 7s on Sunday, and then those series will start Tuesday and Wednesday. So I believe both series end tonight, and we'll have conference finals action on Sunday and Monday before, of course, leading to the NBA Finals. And I just have to say, with all of my being, I no longer care what happens in the West. But I will be buying paraphernalia. I will be buying memorabilia for the team that wins in hopes that they beat the Knicks in the conference finals. Let's go anybody but Knicks. Let's go anybody but Knicks, okay? That is something that I take very seriously. We have the PGA Championship going on in the greater Philadelphia area out there. It's been great. And let me tell you, I'm just going to have you guys look at the video. Let me tell you, Philly fans are better than everybody else, and we have more proof of why right here.
Dallas sucks, Scotty! We're going to smash you on Thanksgiving!
Yeah.
Go Birds!
And then Scotty Scheffler takes it well. Yeah, it's really cool. Scotty Scheffler, the best golfer in the world. He's a Dallas fan. There's nothing wrong with him being a Dallas fan other than the existence of the Dallas Cowboys, but busted him a little bit. And great job by him handling it so well. Also this weekend, it's a big deal. It's a very big deal this weekend because the UFC, for a lot of people, has turned a lot of fans off. I'm not going to get into all of the reasons why right now because we don't have time, but mainly it's because they basically are a mixed martial arts monopoly. Basically, if you're a top fighter in the UFC, you can fight one place. If you're a boxer, while you may have to go overseas to make a lot of money, and there's a lot, but the average championship boxer is paid much more than the average championship UFC fighter, but that's because they can literally go to Saudi Arabia and get paid 20, 30, 50 million for a fight, and the UFC, you just can't. And then, hey, if you get knocked in your brain real good, they'll give you a little bonus of $20,000 at the end of the night. Because Dana White, I mean, it's UFC sweatshop at the end of the day. It's UFC sweatshop. He pays you what he wants, and what are you going to do about it? The answer is nothing, and he's trying to ruin boxing. Let's hope that the Muhammad Ali Act repeal doesn't happen. But there could be an alternative if we support this fight this weekend. Ronda Rousey's fighting Gina Carano on Netflix. I believe it's Saturday night, 9 o'clock is the beginning of the card. Nate Diaz is on the undercard. Some fighters you've heard of, Francis Ngannou, former UFC heavyweight champ, that left because Dana White didn't want to pay him on the undercard. The only way we break the UFC monopoly, the only way for it to happen is to support some of these other fights so that fighters have more than one place to work. Imagine your industry, whatever it is, if there's one plumbing company, well, you're not going to get paid as much if you can't go to another company and make more. That's just how the world works. It's very important this weekend that we watch our basketball, that we watch our PJ. But if you care about getting good MMA, if you care about the fighters getting what they deserve, and what I mean by that is just a living wage and not literally at times no money at all unless they get their brain kicked in, then support this fight and give fighters more places to fight to force the UFC via capitalism to cut a check, because that is the only thing that will change it. So I will be tuned in. I don't think the Ronda Rousey fight was going to be particularly exciting. And of course, you have the Subway Series, Mets versus Yankees. That's always a big deal. I do love it. And in this one, I have to say, let's go Yankees, because I mean, let's keep the Mets down. I'm a Phillies fan. All right, I'm a Phillies fan. What do you want me to say? Everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening today. Have a tremendous weekend. Thanks to the crew downstairs, and we'll talk to all of you on Monday.